The indictment details specific examples where the defendants profited from illegal gambling and illegal betting on various NBA games.
The FBI's investigation into illegal sports betting has officially slammed straight into the NBA's sidelines, and things are getting wild. Moments after federal agents cornered two head coaches about alleged rigged game bets, chaos erupted. Now, this newly leaked footage of Chauncey Billups' heated clash with the FBI might finally expose who knew what and when. The scandal didn't just shake the league, it blew it wide open.
Good morning. Today we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Cosa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rosier were taken into custody today. Former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing.
On the morning of October 23rd, 2025, the basketball world woke up to absolute madness. What started as an ordinary game day spiraled into one of the most jaw-dropping, all-encompassing, and downright shocking controversies in NBA history. We're talking FBI raids across 11 states, Mafia ties, rigged poker rooms, and whispers of insider bets being placed from locker rooms to luxury boxes. Federal vans rolled up to training facilities, phones were seized, and careers were suddenly hanging by a thread. This isn't some movie script, this is real life, and it's unfolding right in front of us with consequences that could forever change how we see professional basketball.
The indictment details specific examples where the defendants profited from illegal gambling and illegal betting on various NBA games about the performance of players on, among other things, the Charlotte Hornets, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Toronto Rangers.
Federal authorities dropped the hammer, announcing multiple arrests tied to two massive gambling rings that have rocked the NBA to its core. The intertwined cases, dramatically codenamed Operation Royal Flush and Operation Nothing But Bet, have exposed what prosecutors describe as high-tech criminal networks using encrypted devices, hidden servers, and insider access to cash in on America's booming sports betting scene. Let's talk about the names that sent shockwaves through every corner of the sports world, because this is where the story turns unreal.
Terry Rosier and Chauncey Billups were both arrested today in what's been one of the most bizarre news stories in NBA history. Since part of this with Rosier, of course, stems from him allegedly faking an injury, I thought it'd be fun to go back and take a look at that game to see if we could find what exactly happened. So, watching this back, absolutely nothing that I can point to and say, yep, this looks like a time when the foot might have been injured, and not even really any indication just from objectively watching him that he was having issues with his foot.
Portland Trail Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups, a 2024 Basketball Hall of Fame inductee and the legendary 2004 NBA Finals MVP, has been arrested. Prosecutors are calling him the face card in a sophisticated high-stakes poker ring that was allegedly rigged from top to bottom. Let that sink in for a second. A man once celebrated as a champion, a leader, a role model for millions, now facing serious federal charges. The same hands that once lifted a finals trophy are now cuffed in connection with an underground poker empire that's got the FBI digging deep, and it doesn't stop there, not even close.
So Chauncey Billups just walked out of the courthouse. I asked him point blank whether he defrauded victims out of millions of dollars. He said nothing at all. He kept his composure.
Miami Heat guard Terry Rosier was also swept up in this investigation, and his alleged crime? Pure insanity. He's accused of secretly tipping off his circle about faking an injury mid-game, just so they could place bets on his underperforming stats. Imagine that, an NBA player pretending to be hurt to help gamblers score easy money. That's not just reckless, it's a betrayal of the entire sport. And the rabbit hole keeps getting darker. Former NBA player Damon Jones, yes, the same Damon who once shared the court with legends, has been charged in both criminal schemes. Prosecutors claim he played a key role in the poker ring and the insider betting operation, allegedly leaking sensitive intel about none other than LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
This alleged illegal gambling operation hustled unwitting victims out of tens of millions of dollars and created a financial pipeline for La Cosa Nostra to help fund and facilitate their organized criminal activity.
When one person's connected to multiple layers of this mess, it paints a terrifying picture. This wasn't just a few bad bets gone wrong. It was an organized network eating away at the very core of professional basketball. Let that really sink in. Over 30 people arrested across 11 different states. This wasn't some sloppy side hustle or a few gamblers getting greedy. This was a nationwide criminal machine running with military precision. A web of corruption so deep and so organized it left investigators stunned. We're talking about a multi-year, multi-million-dollar empire that allegedly siphoned tens of millions from major sports books. And no one saw it coming. This operation was cold, calculated, and built like a fortress. Code names, burner phones, encrypted payments, the works. Authorities dubbed the first part of it Operation Royal Flush, and it wasn't your average poker night. These were high-stakes underground games fueled by big money, dirty secrets, and straight-up mob power.
What we're announcing today is not just another takedown. It's the result of more than 2 years of coordinated investigative work by the NYPD's Joint Organized Crime Task Force and the FBI. 2 cases that exposed criminal networks led by 34 individuals who believed the rules did not apply to them. They hid behind layers of complexity, behind money, and behind influence, believing those things would shield them from accountability.
Here's the part that made even federal agents raise their eyebrows. The poker ring was allegedly backed by 4 of New York's most infamous crime families: the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese organizations. Yes, you heard that right. 4 rival mafia families, who usually wouldn't share a table, let alone a racket, apparently joined forces for this one. It's a rare alliance not seen in decades, and it's sending shockwaves through the FBI's Organized Crime Division. And wait till you hear how they pulled it off. The poker tables were basically high-tech crime labs. Investigators say they found rigged shuffling machines that secretly transmitted card sequences through wireless signals to off-site operators. Those operators then fed the data back to insiders sitting at the tables in real time. It doesn't stop there. They allegedly used X-ray poker tables that let players see face-down cards and marked decks only visible through custom lenses or contact lenses worn by key conspirators. Hidden cameras, secret algorithms, luxury penthouses turned into crime scenes. These poker games weren't happening in shady basements. They went down in Manhattan apartments, Hamptons estates, Las Vegas casinos, and Miami VIP lounges. The setup was designed to reel in the rich and powerful, high rollers who thought they were untouchable until they lost everything. We're talking about victims losing $7 million, $12 million, even $15 million in a single night. Some insiders claim individual players dropped as much as $1.8 million in one session. And when those lucky gamblers couldn't cough up the cash, the mob didn't send reminder emails. They sent enforcers, threats, violence, extortion, even robbery. It was the dark side of the glamour, a ruthless system built to make sure every dollar got collected. This wasn't just gambling gone bad. This was organized crime 2.0. They mixed old-school intimidation with cutting-edge tech and even celebrity influence to lure their victims in. Hidden lenses fed real-time footage to algorithms predicting card outcomes, giving insiders an impossible edge. It was a blend of mob muscle and machine learning, and the result was millions stolen under the bright lights of America's most glamorous cities. But that was just half of the nightmare. The second FBI case, Operation Nothing But Bet, was equally twisted, this time targeting the very heart of NBA competition itself. Between December 2022 and March 2024, insiders allegedly leaked top-secret details about player injuries, game plans, illnesses, and even intentional off nights. That info was then used to manipulate prop bets, wagers on specific player stats like points, rebounds, or assists. It wasn't just one team caught in the crossfire either. The scheme reportedly touched the Charlotte Hornets, Portland Trail Blazers, Los Angeles Lakers, Toronto Raptors, and Orlando Magic, some of the biggest names in the league. Now pause for a second, because the implications here are chilling. Millions of fans across the world watched those games, screaming at their screens, betting their money, believing they were seeing pure competition. But behind the scenes, the outcomes may have been tainted. The trust that fans put into every dribble, every buzzer beater, every comeback, shattered. Everything fans thought they knew about fair play is now hanging by a thread. The most explosive allegation in this entire betting scandal centers around Terry Rosier and one specific game that took place on March 23rd, 2023, back when he was still suiting up for the Charlotte Hornets. Prosecutors claim Rosier pulled off one of the boldest moves in NBA history by faking a foot injury mid-game to cash in on his own downfall. Here's how it allegedly went down. According to court filings, Rosier tipped off his childhood friend De Niro and several close associates hours before tip-off, warning them that he planned to exit the game early with a fake injury. Armed with that insider info, the crew dropped over $259,000 on prop bets predicting that Rosier would score under 15.5 points, snag fewer rebounds, and hand out fewer assists than expected. And when game time came, he played just 9 minutes before limping off the court. His final stats: 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists, all way below his averages. The bets hit perfectly, paying out tens of thousands of dollars in profit. Cash that prosecutors allege was hand-delivered straight to Rosier's own house, where the group counted their winnings like it was a championship celebration. But the sports books weren't asleep. Betting algorithms flagged highly unusual activity that same morning. One gambler placed 30 separate wagers in under an hour, and every single one hit. Despite those red flags, the NBA's reaction was oddly quiet. Instead of launching a public investigation, they simply benched Rosier for the rest of the season, citing a foot injury. But insiders now believe that was a calculated move, a cover-up attempt to keep the story buried before it blew up. Fast forward nearly 2 years later, and that buried scandal has detonated like a bomb. The fallout is spreading fast, dragging teams, coaches, and league officials into the fire. But just when the tension hit its peak, something unexpected happened that flipped the internet upside down. During the massive press conference announcing the arrests and indictments, a bizarre and instantly viral moment unfolded. Cameras caught a chaotic scene that was so meme-worthy it momentarily overshadowed the gravity of the charges being discussed. Did you catch that slip-up? Toronto Rangers instead of the Toronto Raptors or the New York Rangers? A team that doesn't even exist in any pro league got name-dropped in the most serious press conference of the year, and it was wild to witness. U.S. Attorney Joseph Noella Jr. dropped that line during a briefing about organized crime, federal conspiracy charges, and possible NBA corruption, and the internet pounced instantly. Within minutes, timelines were flooded with memes, fake standings, and Toronto Rangers season tickets jokes like it was draft night for a ghost franchise. Fans were riffing about how many rings the imaginary squad had, who the GOAT was, and even debating their rivals, as if this team had history in the books. Pure chaos, pure comedy. People got creative fast. Mock jerseys, slick logos, and fan art popped up like a real expansion announcement just dropped. It was a short breather in a heavy story, a laugh in the middle of a storm, and it spread like wildfire because the name flub was just that memorable. But while the jokes were trending, the serious stuff kept climbing too. Actual clips and receipts surfaced online that seemed to back up claims of game manipulation and insider betting, and this is where the mood changed quick. Once you see those angles and timestamps, it's hard to shake the feeling that something deeper might have been in play, and that's a scary thought for any fan who believes in fair hoops. Remember that March 23rd, 2023 Hornets game we talked about earlier? A sports medicine specialist went back and combed through the broadcast frame by frame to find any sign of a real foot injury. No shortcuts, no speculation, just slow-motion analysis like a film room breakdown. The question was simple but heavy. Was there clear evidence of an actual in-game injury that forced an early exit, or did the footage tell a different story entirely? Let's break down what this sports doctor uncovered, because it's straight up damning. The medical review revealed that Terry Rosier played almost the entire first quarter, right up until just under 3 minutes remaining, and showed zero signs of injury. Not a limp, not a grimace, not even a glance down at his foot. The doctor went through every single frame of Rosier's time on the floor, and what he found completely shatters the foot injury story. He watched Rosier driving hard to the rim, cutting through defenders, planting his feet for step-backs, smooth, confident, explosive. No hesitation, no wincing, no pain indicators at all. Then Rosier ran back and forth in transition multiple times, sprinting the full length of the court without missing a beat. The expert noted it clearly. No visible distress, no impairment, no guarding movement. It gets even more suspicious. When Rosier checked out of the game with 2:12 left in the first quarter, he didn't call over any trainers. He didn't limp to the bench. He just sat down like it was a routine substitution. For the next 2.5 minutes of game time, roughly 5 minutes of real time, he appeared totally relaxed. No ice pack, no wrap, no elevated leg, just casually watching the game like nothing was wrong. According to the doctor's written analysis, this behavior doesn't match any credible pattern of a player suffering a real foot injury. Normally, a legit injury comes with immediate signs: limping, testing the foot, asking for tape, at least some interaction with the medical staff. But Rosier? He didn't even look at his foot until the final seconds of the first quarter, when the clock was practically running out. Only then, with the period nearly over, do cameras catch him casually pulling off his right shoe and rubbing his ankle. And that's it. He didn't come back for the second quarter, didn't return to the floor for the rest of the game, and, mysteriously, didn't play another minute for the remainder of that entire season. The Hornets officially listed Terry Rosier as doubtful with foot discomfort in the second quarter, but now, knowing what's been uncovered, that label feels a lot more like a cover story than a medical update. What was once seen as just another in-game tweak suddenly looks like the centerpiece of a high-stakes deception. The sports doctor's final conclusion in his viral breakdown hits hard because it exposes a massive blind spot in the entire system. He explained that while medical imaging like MRIs or X-rays can detect structural damage, not all pain has visible evidence. Conditions like patellofemoral pain syndrome or ankle impingement can cause real discomfort without showing up on scans, and that's the loophole. It means medical staff often have no choice but to take a player's word for it when they say, "I can't go back in." That's the exact weakness the FBI believes could have been weaponized. When a player is secretly tied to betting insiders, all they have to do is fake pain, sit out, and let the odds cash out big. No MRI in the world can prove otherwise. It's a dangerous vulnerability hiding in plain sight, and the Rosier case may have just exposed how deep it can go. But here's the twist. That infamous March 23rd Hornets game isn't the only suspicious footage out there. More clips have begun surfacing and going viral, this time from a game on March 5th, likely 2024 or 2025, when Rosier was already with the Miami Heat facing the Cleveland Cavaliers. And let's just say, the performance was painfully bad. Rosier shot a shocking 3 for 14 from the field, including 1 for 8 from three-point range, while committing 4 turnovers in 40 minutes of play. Fans dug up the footage, and the low-light reel spread across social media like wildfire. Millions of views, endless replays, endless debates. And honestly, some of those plays looked so off, people couldn't believe they were watching a seasoned pro. There were passes that bounced right off his own fingers, balls thrown directly to defenders, lazy spin moves that ended in turnovers, and wide-open shots that barely touched the rim. At one point, he even tripped over his own feet mid-drive and lost the ball, leaving the crowd gasping in disbelief. NBA fans on Reddit didn't hold back. They've labeled some of Terry Rozier's viral lowlights as Hall of Fame-level blunders, with countless users now wondering if those botched plays were actually intentional sabotage. The theory that Rosier may have been deliberately tanking his own stats to guarantee prop bets on his unders would hit, and the footage has people debating nonstop. But to be fair, not everyone's convinced this was foul play. Some fans and analysts have come forward with reasonable counter-arguments, saying Rosier has always been known as a streaky shooter. He's the kind of player who can go from dropping 30 points one night to missing everything the next. His career field goal percentage, hovering around 42%, tells the story of a player who's talented but inconsistent, capable of both highlight reels and horror shows on any given night. And when you look at his 2024 to 2025 season with the Miami Heat, the numbers don't lie. It was brutal, one of the worst statistical stretches of his entire career. Analysts described that run as a slump so deep it might have shaken his confidence to the core. So maybe, just maybe, those chaotic plays weren't part of a secret plan. Maybe it was just a player spiraling under pressure. Still, the internet loves patterns, and the more clips that resurface, the harder it is for fans to ignore the coincidences. And then comes the twist that made this story even stranger. A podcast episode from 2023 suddenly blew up again after the FBI arrests were announced. It's from episode 277 of the Only Friends podcast, originally aired on August 21st, 2023, over 2 years before Chauncey Billups' arrest. In it, professional poker player Matt Berkey, a man with more than $4.7 million in live tournament earnings, casually dropped a bombshell of his own. Berkey talked about his suspicions that certain private poker games were rigged, claiming that some familiar faces in the sports world had ties to these shady setups. Things get even crazier when you realize this story connects directly back to Chauncey Billups. In that same Only Friends podcast episode, Matt Berkey went on to describe how his own friends attended those underground poker games in both Los Angeles and Las Vegas, only to come out claiming they were blatantly cheated. These weren't casual games among buddies. These were high-stakes tables stacked with people who, by all logic, should have known better. Berkey said the red flags were impossible to ignore. Players who didn't even seem to understand basic no-limit hold'em rules were somehow making miracle calls and landing insane cards. He recalled watching so-called amateurs jamming hundreds of big blinds with garbage hands, like weak straight draws or random gut shots, and magically hitting their cards every time. It didn't make sense, unless something behind the scenes was being controlled. And here's the shocking part. According to a new report, NBA legend Kevin Garnett may have even participated in some of these 2019 poker games Berkey was referencing. Now, to be crystal clear, Garnett isn't accused of anything, and there's no evidence he knew about the cheating. But the fact that his name even comes up shows just how deep this whole web might run. It's no longer just about one or two rogue figures. This mess might have brushed up against some of basketball's biggest icons. So, where does all of this leave us? What happens next? And what does it mean for the future of pro basketball, sports betting, and the murky intersection between athletics and organized crime in America? These aren't easy questions, but they're crucial ones. Right now, every person charged in the NBA gambling scandal faces serious consequences. We're talking conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering, both major federal crimes. And each one carries a maximum penalty of up to 20 years in prison per count. That means if convicted on all counts, some of these defendants could be staring down 40 years behind bars. That's why FBI Director Kash Patel called this a historic arrest, saying it marks one of the largest crossovers between organized crime and professional sports ever exposed in the United States. Patel didn't hold back either. He warned that violating the law is a losing proposition, reminding everyone that no amount of fame, money, or power puts you above justice. Terry Rosier walked into federal court in Orlando, Florida with cameras flashing and the world watching. He was released after posting his $6 million Miami mansion as collateral. But make no mistake, the conditions were brutal. The court hit him with strict bans, including zero gambling of any kind, even recreational. His legal team immediately went on the attack, calling the case a revived non-case and accusing the feds of staging a photo op arrest just for headlines. His attorney doubled down, insisting that Terry is not a gambler and vowing to fight every inch of the prosecution's claims. But even if he wins in court, the damage might already be done. His NBA career is frozen, his endorsements are gone, and his public image, once built on energy and charisma, has been shattered. The sad truth, even if Rosier avoids prison, his chances of returning to the league look slim to none. Meanwhile, Chauncey Billups faced his own day in court in Portland, Oregon. The Hall of Famer and former Finals MVP was released on bond under similar conditions. No gambling, no travel, and a full surrender of his passport. His attorney spoke with confidence, praising Billups' character and calling the charges deeply flawed. But the emotional toll is undeniable. Think about it. Chauncey Billups isn't just any coach. He's a legend, a man whose name carries weight in every locker room in America, a champion, a mentor, a symbol of class and professionalism. And now, that entire legacy hangs under a cloud of criminal allegations. The Portland Trail Blazers wasted no time reacting. They placed Billups on immediate leave and appointed Tiago Splitter as interim head coach. It's a polite way of saying, your job's gone, at least for now. For Billups, it's not just about fighting charges, it's about fighting for his identity. Because once your name gets tied to the words federal investigation, it doesn't matter how many trophies you've won, the stain sticks. But beyond the players and coaches, the NBA as an institution is now staring down its biggest image crisis in years. Commissioner Adam Silver has always stood at the forefront of sports betting legalization, championing it as a way to bring transparency and oversight to the game. He said for years that regulation is better than prohibition, that bringing gambling into the light would protect basketball's integrity, not destroy it. The NBA's deep dive into the world of sports betting has officially backfired, and now the entire system is under a microscope. Over the past few years, the league has built massive, multi-billion-dollar partnerships with platforms like DraftKings and FanDuel, transforming how millions of fans experience the game. Betting isn't just a side feature anymore, it's woven into every broadcast, every highlight reel, and every halftime show. Both FanDuel and DraftKings rushed to release statements as the scandal exploded, proudly pointing out that their own monitoring systems were what helped crack the case. They claimed that their technology detected the suspicious betting activity tied to the March 23rd game, and that their reports to investigators were key in uncovering the wider criminal network. Regulated betting, they argued, worked exactly as intended. But that corporate spin doesn't erase the uncomfortable truth. This entire mess exposes a massive question mark hanging over the NBA's alliance with gambling companies. Has the league really been as careful and transparent as it claims to be? Or has the chase for betting revenue blinded it to the risks that come with mixing money, competition, and insider access? Multiple insiders have alleged that the league may have already known about irregularities surrounding Rosier's March 23, 2023 game, and that instead of escalating it immediately, executives tried to handle it quietly behind the scenes. If that's true, it means the NBA chose damage control over accountability, and that's a dangerous precedent. Even worse, reports show that the sportsbooks alerted the NBA right away when they noticed suspicious betting spikes. Yet it took nearly 2 full years for the arrests and charges to finally drop. That gap raises one disturbing possibility, that someone within the league wanted this story buried before it could explode. The FBI has made it crystal clear this investigation isn't over, not even close. Officials have warned that what we're seeing right now is just the tip of the iceberg. And that phrase alone should send shivers through every corner of the NBA, from executives and team owners to players, coaches, and even agents. Think about it. More than 30 people have already been arrested across multiple states, and agents are still saying it's only the beginning. If that's true, how many more could be caught in the net as the investigation digs deeper? How many games from recent seasons might have been compromised? Quietly influenced by insider bets, faked injuries, or deliberate underperformances designed to cash out massive payouts. These aren't just wild hypotheticals. These are questions that cut straight to the heart of the league's integrity. How can fans cheer, cry, and invest their emotions in every game if there's a chance the outcomes weren't pure competition, but carefully orchestrated manipulation? The trust between the NBA and its fans is hanging by a thread, and every new revelation pulls it tighter. And here's where things get even more tangled. This current scandal directly connects to the 2024 case involving former Toronto Raptors forward Jontay Porter. He already pleaded guilty to wire fraud for his own role in game manipulation, receiving a lifetime ban from the NBA. Porter's playbook mirrors this new scheme almost exactly, tipping off associates about early exits, betting on his own unders, and placing wagers through straw bettors to cover his tracks before intentionally underperforming to make sure those bets hit. Porter isn't charged in this round of indictments, but investigators have confirmed he's cooperating fully with the feds. His testimony reportedly helped connect multiple dots between players, coaches, and outside betting circles. That alone suggests this isn't some isolated scandal. It's part of a systemic pattern that's been quietly unfolding inside the league for years. The Mafia connection adds a dark, almost cinematic twist to this entire scandal, and it's as chilling as it is unbelievable. The FBI confirmed that not 1, not 2, but 4 of New York's 5 most powerful crime families, the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese organizations, allegedly joined forces for this poker scheme. That level of collaboration between these syndicates is practically unheard of. Normally, these families keep to their own turf, divided by decades of rivalry and distrust. They don't team up, they compete. But the lure of easy, high-tech millions apparently did what decades of mob wars never could. It united them. Federal agents say the profit potential from the rigged poker empire was so massive, it shattered old boundaries and gave birth to an operation so coordinated, so sophisticated, that even seasoned investigators were stunned. And the technology behind it? Straight up terrifying. Forget about marked cards or slick hand tricks. This was 21st century organized crime operating like a tech startup. Investigators found custom-built X-ray tables, wirelessly linked shuffling machines that could predict and control the exact order of cards, and hidden micro cameras planted inside light fixtures and table surfaces. Players in on the scam wore special contact lenses and glasses that could read invisible markings on the cards. Meanwhile, off-site operators monitored live feeds in real time, relaying coded signals back to quarterbacks at the table, insiders who quietly directed the flow of play, whispering or gesturing to co-conspirators when to fold, call, or go all in. The level of investment and technical expertise here is mind-blowing. It's no longer just crime, it's engineering, and it proves how far organized syndicates are willing to go when the profits are this big. But behind all the headlines and drama, it's easy to forget the victims. The people who walked into these games thinking they were entering legitimate high-stakes circles. They weren't faceless corporations or casinos protected by insurance policies. They were individuals, wealthy, yes, but still human beings, who were deliberately targeted, manipulated, and drained of their fortunes. Authorities estimate that players lost between $7 million and $15 million, with some victims losing everything in just a few nights of play. These were people invited into glittering penthouses and exclusive Las Vegas suites, made to feel like VIPs, only to be scammed by a machine so intricate it blurred the line between mob muscle and Silicon Valley tech. One victim reportedly lost a staggering $1.8 million in a single poker session, and when they couldn't pay up, things turned ugly fast. Federal reports confirm that Mafia enforcers stepped in with threats, intimidation, and in some cases, actual violence to collect the money they believed was owed. These weren't empty words. These were seasoned mob figures who made sure nobody walked away without paying their debt, no matter the cost. So now the burning question is, what happens next? What does the future of the NBA and sports betting as a whole look like after a scandal this massive? Let's break it down because the ripple effects of this could reshape professional basketball forever. First off, the NBA is expected to tighten its surveillance like never before. You can bet they'll roll out aggressive new monitoring systems for player prop bets, working directly with sportsbooks to spot and investigate any suspicious wagering patterns the second they appear. There's talk of an internal integrity unit being expanded, a full-time task force to make sure the next betting scandal gets caught before it spreads. Second, expect a full-blown crackdown on education and prevention. Players, coaches, and even team staff will likely be forced to attend mandatory training sessions outlining the dangers of gambling involvement and the devastating consequences that come with crossing that line. The message will be crystal clear. One mistake, and your career's gone for good. Third, and this one's big, the league may face growing pressure to eliminate player prop bets entirely. These individual wagers are the easiest to manipulate, and critics have long argued they're a ticking time bomb. Commentators are calling for a shift toward team-based bets only. Final scores, point spreads, and outcomes that can't be influenced by one player's bad night. If those proposals gain traction, the sports betting industry could look very different by next season. Fourth, you can expect background checks and financial monitoring to go to a whole new level. Any NBA figure seen mingling at private poker tables or luxury gambling events might raise red flags. The league could start restricting or outright banning its players and coaches from participating in high-stakes gaming environments altogether. The message will be simple. If you can't stay clean, you can't stay in the league. And it doesn't stop there. Political pressure is already building. Washington insiders are hinting at potential congressional hearings aimed at addressing sports betting corruption at the federal level. Lawmakers could introduce new legislation imposing harsher criminal penalties on athletes and coaches caught manipulating games or passing insider info. Since the 2018 Supreme Court decision that legalized sports betting nationwide, the industry has exploded into a multi-billion-dollar empire. But that same boom has opened dangerous new cracks, and this scandal may be the catalyst that forces lawmakers to finally act. But even beyond all the policies, procedures, and headlines, there's one haunting question that every fan is now asking. Can we ever truly trust the integrity of the games we love again? When a star player suddenly has an off night, will you believe it's just a bad performance, or start wondering if there's money behind it? When someone sits out with a mystery injury, will you question if it's legit or a calculated move to protect a secret bet? And when a team pulls off a shocking comeback or collapse, will it feel like pure competition or quiet manipulation? Because after everything we've seen, that line between sports and scandal has never looked thinner. So what do you think? Has this shattered your faith in the NBA for good? Or can the league recover from something this big? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment for more breaking updates like this. We'll be watching this story as it continues to unfold. And trust me, the next chapter could be even wilder. See you on the next one.